You do when I'm not here.
This is RB, and welcome to RB's Kitchen Talk. We are here to celebrate Mother's Day, and I am simply delighted that I have my siblings with me. And I have two other special people, my son and my niece, and my son Michael and my niece Josephine, and they are going to co host this Kitchen Talk. Several months ago, I said to myself, my siblings and I should really do a kitchen talk. And we thought, well, what better time than to do it on Mother's Day? And so I'm so happy that they've made time for this talk. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to Michael and Josephine. And so take it away.
All
Right.
right.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So, Auntie, thank you so much for asking Mike and I to host because I think that's special. I think for the point of view of the niece and nephew, we get to learn a lot about our grandmother through you all. So, firsthand knowledge on the stories, the legacy of her life, and how important she, means to you all. It's really special for us. So, I'm excited to learn more about my grandma and to honor her for this Mother's Day for sure. So we thought that it would be great because your listeners, your fan base, this may be the first time that they are meeting your siblings. So I think if people, if the siblings are comfortable, we could do a little introduction, something light, just your name. And then we want to know the ranking. Are you the oldest? Are you the middle child? The fourth youngest? Like, we just want to have a good understanding so we can get that family dynamic. So
Sounds
who
great.
wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Anyone?
Beverly, and I am the oldest.
Period. Yes. Wonderful, Auntie.
Eric, and I am the second oldest.
Well, I'm Rodney, and I'm the baby.
And
Baby.
I'm Rhonda, and I am about 13 months older than Rodney. And, we are missing someone, aren't we? We are
Yes.
missing our middle brother, whose name was Keith, and he passed away some years ago. Miss him terribly. And he just happened to be Joe's dad.
Amen.
So when I see her, I am always reminded of him when I see her and her sister. So hopefully that was a good intro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, nice. No, yeah, I'm glad that JoJo was able to hop on and do this with me. And I'm really appreciative that you guys were willing to allow us in your space. I do know sometimes, this time of the year for some people can be heavy, but we could have, just a very informal conversation, lay back, and, laugh a little bit, reflect a little bit. I guess like we'll just start off something. We'll start off with something real simple. Being that Mother's Day is right around the corner. Uh, if anybody, you can do popcorn however you want to. Can you guys give us a funny memory you have of your mom? Maybe it involved a few of you. So maybe one of you guys ticked her off and got in trouble, and that led to a spanking, or there was an argument she had to do. Yeah, if you guys got any memories,
Yeah.
whatever's the first thing that jumps off the page, go ahead.
Well,
Uncle Rodney, you had a good laugh. Yup, you
I
had.
can recall. No, I was just sitting here thinking, and it was just so vivid. When things happen, it was like a trauma moment for me. um, I was probably, I don't know, maybe around 13, 12, 13, maybe. And I had gotten taller than my mom. So, naturally, I thought, hey, I'm the guy now, right? And I forget what happened. And, we were standing in the dining room. I can remember this so vividly. We were in the dining room and we were going back and forth, back and forth. She told me to be quiet, shut my mouth, and I just kept going, kept going. And next thing I know, I just felt something hit me and I didn't see it. but I just felt it.
Mm.
And I grabbed my mouth
Mhm.
and she said, I told you to be quiet.
Mhm.
And I just thought about that. You know, you hear stories about, your parent hitting you with a shoe or something, but she hit me with her hand.
Mm.
And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. It was trauma for me.
Uh,
You got a little PTSD.
Yeah, because I remember it vividly. And then she told me to go to your room. Go to your room. And this is what happened. I had did something, right? And she had got the belt. That's what it was. You know,
okay.
that brown belt.
Right.
And she hit me a couple of times and I didn't flinch.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I thought, okay, I got this now.
Mm.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy. So, I had a little bit more to say, and that's when she hit me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a moment.
That was a
I can
moment.
look back on it now because it was funny, because
Mm.
it would hit me in the mouth, and I was like, oh, okay. And we never, my mom, I've always respected her to that point. When she got serious, her eyes would buck, and that's when you knew it was real.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's when you knew it was real. And it wasn't like, I'm going to really go back and forth with you.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay,
Like
shut up.
enough's enough. Yep.
Yes, it was like that. And when I said that one last word and she hit me, that was it. I knew it was real.
Wow.
And Joe, I was just going to mention too that our dad died when Pat. Let me know if and we call Beverly Pat. Pat, let me know if I've got this right. But I think I was 3, and so you would have been 13. And so he died and left, our mom a widow. So she raised all 5 of us, and so she had to, she had to be tough, to do her thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And she didn't play. We laughed, we laughed. And I remember, every Sunday, it was after church, we would eat. And then that evening, it would be Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom,
Mm. Yeah.
and the animals.
Right.
And back then,
Uh-huh.
we didn't have cable. So, you only had a few select channels. But that
Right.
was a ritual for us. And we would all sit around and we would watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Right. I have a memory of, we were very affectionate toward mom, at least as I remember, me and Rodney, we call him Nani, but me and Rodney. And so she had her favorite chair in the living room. And when it was time for us to go to bed, we wanted to be the first one to kiss her goodnight. And we had our side of the cheek that we wanted to kiss her. And so if he got to that cheek first, that meant I had to go to the other cheek because I didn't want to kiss over, over his kiss, So I remember that. I remember we fought over that. We fought over a cheek. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Mom was she had to be serious. But I remember a time I was smaller. I don't think I was a bad child. I might have been naughty. And I remember I went into the bathroom once to get something out of the medicine cabinet that I shouldn't have. And I pulled the medicine cabinet off the wall. Well, mom ran in the bathroom and she looked around to see whether or not I was hurt. And when she found out I wasn't hurt, she beat me. And I'm thinking like, wow, really? But that's the kind of mom, I guess she figured, I need to beat this boy for what he did. And I look back at it now and it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But it was funny now. So, yeah.
Yeah, we would always be doing something,
Yeah.
There was rules and being naughty was part of it, right?
Yeah.
It was pushing the limits, just doing stuff you didn't have no business doing, and then you would always get caught.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
You
She
always get caught.
she knew stuff almost like if she was with you when you did it. It blew my mind. How do you know this? I mean, and
Yeah.
she was on point with it. And that this was her relationship with God. I don't care what we did, you wasn't pulling nothing over on her.
No, she was on point, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Rhonda, you remember Corey? Used to live
Yeah.
across the street.
Yeah, I do.
And just piggybacking off what you were saying, you know, we were kids, right? We were kids, so we out playing. And Corey was how can I say, he was the last resort to play with because he was bad. He was bad.
Really?
He was a bad kid.
Okay.
And mommy always told, you know, she didn't really like us playing with him, but you know, he was a kid. Mommy was, you know, she liked the kids in the neighborhood. But we was out one day, there wasn't nobody else around. We was out throwing rocks, breaking windows. And I don't know how she knew. When I got home, she said, "Where were you?" And I'm like, "Why are you asking?" I said, "I was outside." You know, she says, "What were you doing?"
Wow.
And when she said that, you know, I was like, "What do you mean?" What was I doing? I was playing. And you know, she kept going, wanted to know. I guess she was going to see if I was going to tell a lie or not. So she just kept going, drilling me. She says, "Were you outside throwing rocks?"
Wow.
And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, well, what do I say? Because if I tell the truth, I'm going to get a beating. And if I don't, I'm going to get a beating.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm in the catch-22 right now.
So did you tell the truth?
So she said, "Were you outside throwing rocks?" I didn't want to confirm nor deny.
Right.
So what did you say?
I don't remember, but I know one thing. I was on punishment.
You were the punishment.
Oh yeah, she was good for that. Oh my God.
I remember saying, man, summers, I would be in the house the whole summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was good for that.
She would say 2 weeks.
Oh.
2 weeks. It wasn't days.
It was
She would tag on. It was like a prison sentence going before the judge. You were a repeat offender. Oh, you're going down. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I got some great memories.
Yeah.
I have great memories, man.
I can't, I'm going to let you guys take over, but I'll never forget though, Rodney and his family knows this story, and I don't think I'll ever forget it, but I got into a fight with a good friend of mine, and it was right outside the house. Her name was Denise. And so we all played together, boys and girls. And so Denise beat me up. She beat me up. And I looked over for my brother, Rodney, to come to my aid. And he didn't.
He didn't come.
He watched me get my butt beat, right? So I remember going, after it happened, we stopped and, and we eventually became friends. But I went in the house and I told Mom, I was like, Nani didn't help me or anything. You know what she said?
No.
Nothing. It was like she didn't want to get involved. She didn't want to get involved, and maybe she knew that, this is what kids do. And she didn't want to, get upset with anybody. But I will never forget that. Never.
It was a trauma moment.
No response. I mean, Rodney, unless you remember her saying something to you, I
don't remember.
I don't. So it was like just one of those things.
It was a good fight, though.
It was.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it was a fair one. I mean, that's what it was. It was fair, right?
And
it was a fair fight.
You just lost that.
Because like when we were little, right? When we were little, you know, we had to have a fair fight. If you were going to fight, it had to be fair. Nobody, you couldn't get jumped, right? It was just one-on-one. And then you know how they used to put the little twig on your shoulder, and you say you knock it off. That would be your mother.
Right,
I knock
right.
your mother off the cliff. You knock your mother off the cliff. Then you just start fighting.
Right.
That was like the bell. But it was a fair fight, so I didn't know.
Okay.
Maybe mommy was watching it.
Huh?
Maybe.
She probably didn't say
Maybe
nothing.
because
She
it
was
was
like,
it
"Oh,
was
Good
right
point.
on the side of the house. Maybe
Good
she
point.
did.
Good
She was
point.
probably
She
doing it.
probably did. So she said it was a fair one. You just had to take one.
Take one for the team.
Sometimes you
for the
win,
team.
sometimes you lose.
Hey, that
Hey.
happens.
Nah, that's funny.
What
I got-
about you, Aunt Pat? How is like being the
Oh.
oldest? The oldest and the relationship that you had with grandma?
That's a good question.
Well, I didn't get into a lot of trouble. I didn't do a lot of talking back. I was on a mission though, and my mission was doing my best to keep Eric out of trouble.
Oh.
And in memory of his medicine cabinet event, I remember a little different.
Tell us your version.
Please.
He was always doing something all the time. And what he did that time was he climbed up onto the sink because he was little, but he wasn't a baby. He climbed up on the sink and went into the medicine cabinet, and he knocked down the mercure cone, which is red. And it was red all over the bathroom. And when she got there, she thought it was blood. And that was not a good thing, because my mother, she said that she could smell blood and it would make her ill. That's what she claimed. So I had to intercede and take care of business in the bathroom, etc. But like I said, she was a good friend.
Thank you
We
for
were
clearing that
friends.
up.
That was a very important part. You
Yeah, he
missed.
just left
You
that
just
out.
left that out.
What?
Why?
What?
No, he
The
left that
mercure
part out.
cone.
Thank you for filling in the gaps,
Yeah,
Auntie.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there was gaps. He was very naughty. So therefore, his attention was always on him, and that wasn't good for mom. She was always, concerned. What is Bussy doing? He's always doing something. And so there was a gap between the three of us, the first three and the last two. So whenever the boys were doing something, I was there. But with the last two, I wasn't always there, being the oldest. So I didn't see everything that was going on in that relationship. But the first three, I knew that one.
Okay.
Mercure cone.
Yeah, the boys and myself sometimes, because we lived our bedrooms were upstairs, we get nosebleeds. And they would come down with their nose bleeding, and I have to send mom back to bed. So I took care of the nosebleeds.
Wow.
Good
You were
information.
holding it down. Holding
Thank
it down
you.
as the oldest sibling.
Thank
Lots
you,
of
sister.
responsibility.
Thank you, sister, for looking out for us. Thank you.
Yes.
Always, I was there. What can I say?
Yeah, I got a question for you. I want everybody to answer this. So, and you can it doesn't have to be a long one, but what's one, like, I guess, life lesson, or something that you were like, just something valuable that you believe your mother taught you that stuck with you throughout your life, either whether it's how you approached your own family, relationships, things of that nature. One thing that stands out about what she taught you as growing up.
Never give up. Never give up. And she was a woman of faith. She believed God. It wasn't a long, I believe in because this, that, or the other. It was straight to the point. I believe God. And she stuck to it,
I was going.
you know, and if nothing else, I think I've taken that from her. I received that lesson.
Mm.
She meant what she said. If she said it, she meant it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking earlier towards that. Sometimes, you know, if you get to know your mother and you know her ways, you know if she's serious. I'll say serious about something. And many times I would be pestering her about doing something or going someplace, and she'd tell me no. But if I kept on and kept on, sometimes the tone of her voice would change. And that was good. I could go then. We didn't have to talk about it anymore. I could just go. But then if that tone of voice was, that was an absolute no. So a lot of times, like Rodney was talking about, you know, stretching her eyes, you know, that was one thing, yes. And the other one with me was her tone of voice. If she told me not to do something, that's what she meant. But then if her voice changed in saying something, I got to go ahead. I had to learn that.
Yeah, that takes learning somebody's their body language, what they don't say too. Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She was definitely she showed grace in everything she did. She showed what I learned from observing her. I learned patience.
Mm.
I learned patience from her. She would never rush into anything. She had to be sure. And she told me, this is what she told me. She says, if you don't know, don't do anything. Wait until you know.
Mm.
That's what she would tell me. It's a lesson that I've learned because to repeat something is tragic. It's a waste of time. And I've learned patience. She would come home on Sundays and she would get her newspaper. She would sit down, cross her leg, and read the newspaper, do the crossword puzzles, you know, whatever it was she would do in the newspapers, read the articles and everything. And she would just sit there and it was just as peaceful
Yeah.
and graceful as she could be. Like there wasn't a care in the world.
You left out the roast beef.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, she would have that roast beef. We'd
Yeah.
have dinner. She would make her rolls.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I remember, you know, that they used to have a second service in the afternoon. She had came home one time and she had cooked. She had made fried chicken. And, you know, the house would used to be, growing up with me, all of my friends would come over. And this one particular time, I think it was me, it was Steve, Elwood. Um, it was about five of us. And mommy had cooked. And I don't think she ate. And when she came back from church,
Mm.
that food was gone.
My
Mm.
Lord.
She looked, and everybody was just laid out on the floor asleep. We had eaten full and went to sleep.
Mm.
And she just came and looked and just walked in the room, didn't say a word.
Mm.
And that's one thing about mommy. Everybody ate.
Mm.
Everybody ate. Didn't matter, you know, who it was. If you came to the house, you were going to eat. If there was something there, she would make sure you ate. And I guess that's where I get it from. You know, people come to the house and say, we're going to eat, everybody eats.
I think there are a couple of things I take. The first is I remember when she did do part-time work, she would say that when she came home, she wanted everything in its place. She wanted everything in its place. And me, Rodney, and Keith would be home, and we didn't do what she said. But when we saw her car pull into that driveway, we got to moving to make sure we did exactly what she said. It was like no one had to say anything. Didn't matter who did what, we cleaned up because we did not want to feel her wrath. And I know that I've taken that on. Not that I didn't realize I was doing what she did, but I'm very much the same way. But I think the other value is that she always told me to make sure I took care of myself, that I could take care of myself, to always make sure I had money, that I had a savings, because anything could happen. And as a woman, you had to take care of yourself. And that has stuck with me for a lifetime.
That's definitely, that was one of her lessons. That was
I think
definitely it was her mantra.
I think everybody got that when she tell me, put your money in the dirt.
You have to have
And
some.
one time I literally put it in the dirt.
Okay.
Okay.
There was reason behind that, but yes, I literally put it in the dirt.
Did you find it?
Oh yeah, I knew where I put it.
Oh, okay.
I know that's right.
No,
Those are such
And
valuable memories and values that your mom instilled on you that you still live by to this day. That's beautiful.
yeah, the cooking part. I don't do a lot of cooking now. But when the kids were growing up, that was instilled. Karan had played every game, baseball, football, everything, and my kitchen was always full of boys. I just make the biggest stew or the biggest thing of spaghetti that I could because everybody came to eat. But that's long gone. But yes, that was instilled.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I think too, family. Family is, I mean, was everything. I mean, we ate at the kitchen table every Sunday, every Saturday, until you guys got a little bit older, but we had meals together. And I remember, I don't know, Eric, if it was you or Keith that disliked when Pat would take her gum.
Oh
And
my God.
oh, this,
Still to today.
she would she would
Still
take
to,
the gum out, and you're like, most people would throw it away. Nah.
yes,
You
please
stick it
throw it
on the
away.
plate.
Like
On
really?
the plate. And they would get so upset with that. And but we had meals together. We had meals together, and I don't know, I don't remember what we talked about, but that has certainly left an impact on me. I mean, when the boys were growing up, we had meals together, and I still try to get them to see me as often as possible. So that was another value she instilled in us.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So speaking along the lines of, I heard some roast beef, I heard rolls. She made lots of different things. What was, things that made your mom who she was? Give me, any favorite foods. What were some quirky things about her that made her her?
She sewed. She was a
Okay.
seamstress.
Yes.
She would make clothes. She was very good at it. She was so good at it that she would make clothes for other women.
Oh, wow.
You
I
know,
didn't know that.
Yeah,
yes,
I knew she served.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
made all my school clothes.
Yep.
We were to school September. I was ready. I agree, Rodney. And the other girls, they were getting their clothes from one of those other stores, it was something like a Kmart, but my dresses were topped.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did that.
She did.
She would go and get her material. Cause see, I was the youngest, so I had to tag along. Because I was the baby.
Right.
And I remember going to, to the material store. I remember going to, she would be picking out the different patterns and so on. And she would come back, and she would lay the patterns out. I learned how to do all of that stuff just by watching her. She would cut the patterns out. I forget the little wheel thing, to put the
trace.
yeah. She would do all of that. She would do alterations for women. They would come to the house. Yeah, she was definitely a she was a self-made entrepreneur.
Yes.
She would do things. She even could. She baked cakes, uh, which I didn't like. The pineapple upside down cakes,
Mm-hmm.
the coconut. But she would, and people would want them. I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
her and Sweetie, Sister Grant. They would bake cakes and she was very self-sufficient, I'd like to say. If she wanted something, you couldn't tell her she couldn't have it. She would get it. She would go and buy cars, and she didn't want no payments. She said no payments. And she would go and get a car, come back, no payments.
That's one thing I could never understand about her. I never knew her having this big, fancy, high-paying job. But she managed 2 houses and bought new cars and raised 5 kids. And that's why I said, through all of this, she was a woman of faith, and she demonstrated faith. And we saw the results of what faith will do, and that how God took a little bit that she had and made away with it.
Okay.
Talk about faith, demonstration. One of the dogs, the German Shepherd, he got sick. His eyes were blue. Originally, the dog's eyes supposed to be brown. His eyes were blue. He was sick. Mom laid hands on that dog and prayed for him. That dog's eyes turned back brown, and he got well.
Yeah, really?
I remember absolutely. I remember another event. The furnace went out downstairs when he had no heat. She went downstairs and laid hands on that furnace. She prayed for the furnace. Now you tell me. And the furnace started working.
She was a woman of faith, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
That's what
she didn't call nobody in for it. That furnace started working.
That's powerful.
She was classy, though. I mean,
absolutely.
He Rodney and I had the best shoes. What was it, Buster Brown at the time, and she did not spare any expense when it came to clothing, and she was sharp.
Easter, Christmas.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would hate about those times of year, when she would give me that speech, that Easter or Christmas speech, I hated it. I hated it. And that it would. I think she created so much pressure on me to learn it that I couldn't do it. It was because I was so afraid. I didn't want to mess. He said, "You better not mess it up."
Yeah. Uncle, this was like a speech you had to do in front of the church?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. It was too much pressure for me. I couldn't take it. I would mess up every year. I can't remember a recitation that I didn't mess up.
Rodney, were you the one to start making up words in it?
No, that was Keith.
That was Keith.
But he knew too. He knew. And she knew, right? This is what because she would have the recitations and she would be sitting there looking at them. And Keith would mess up, but you would not know. He would mess stuff up right on the spot.
Yep.
Right
Gee.
on the spot.
He
Genius.
wouldn't know it, but the congregation didn't know he messed up,
They
but she
didn't know.
knew.
She knew.
She was nice enough to wait till he got home to tell him.
Yeah.
You know what time it is. You know what
That was man, that was a tough time of year. Everything was good until we had to go to church. Then it was trauma. It was like, oh man, I dreaded it. I really did. I dreaded it. Then when they would call me up, it would be like,
Right, you know what you would do? You would lick your lips. I guess your mouth had gotten dry. I don't know.
You should have
But
studied
Keith and
your
I was
recitation.
dying.
it was pressure.
Like,
It was depression.
Depression.
It was too much pressure. I couldn't take it. I could not take it. I hated it. Because I knew if I messed up, she would give me the look. And I would just go and sit down because I knew when I got home, it was on. She would got that brown belt. I told her.
No.
It was that, she had her favorite weapon.
But the beauty of it is she warned you. You know, she gave you
that's what made it worse.
You know, what was going to happen if you didn't know it?
Oh man.
Yeah, man. It was like I was the only one that would mess up every year. I was the only one, and I knew it. I went in knowing.
You knew your fate.
So everybody else, all of you guys had to do speeches, or
that's what we did in church on
Yeah.
Okay. So was it Uncle Rodney? Did you always happen to go last because you were younger, or?
I don't know.
He
I
just
don't
didn't know
what
his
order it was,
recitation,
but
Mike.
I
It
know
don't
when
matter.
it was my
First
turn.
and last. He didn't know it. He didn't study.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Rodney.
This
Poor
is
Rodney.
It was
funny.
terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Another traumatic experience, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were good. They were good traumas, because I guess I needed to remember them. I needed to remember those lessons, and she would always tell me, she would say, especially when she would be cooking. Like I said, I was always around her because I was the baby, right? And so when she would be cooking, she says, learn to cook. Because if you cook, you can always eat. And that's what she told me. She said, if you learn how to cook, you can always eat. So today I cooked, made me some oxtails.
Yes.
So I can eat.
Good.
I ain't mad at that.
Right.
I was in, yeah. So it's important, it's just the little gems, the little things that she would always say that were honestly, Josephine, life lessons. They were the small things. They didn't have to be big. Because when she said something, it was definitive. It was definitive.
Dad, I'll be back. I gotta go to the church.
And it was very important.
Yeah, I have a question. And I don't know if my mom has any of Joe, but I wanted to ask, just in the spirit of Mother's Day, in her absence, but being that Mother's Day is coming up, what would you say to her today as you reflect on the times that you spent with her if she was here today?
That's a good question.
I got an answer for you. I would tell her thank you for never giving up on me. And your bussy is good.
Aww.
Right? That sounds good.
That's beautiful.
Sounds good. Boy, I don't know. I don't know.
I
She,
don't. Wow. What would I say?
mm,
I know
I
what
don't know
I
because for
oh,
me, she was always there for me. And I guess that was one of the big things for me, being the youngest, the last,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't ever remember not her being present.
mhm.
So it was like she was always there.
Mm-hmm.
She was just there for me.
And when she was there, her presence, it taught lessons, and sometimes she wouldn't even have to talk. It was just her demeanor. You know, she was just mom. She was awesome.
Yeah, she was a wise woman.
Yeah. She was a constant.
Okay.
Yeah.
She I wanted to be like her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like in clothing and shoes, and I guess I got it from her. She was phenomenal in her dress, and she had a cousin that lived with us temporarily. And mom would let me go upstairs and get in all her shoes because this cousin loved shoes too. And I remember she was pregnant with one of the kids. I don't know if it was Keith or I don't remember who it was, but I thought that woman was the sharpest woman. She was pregnant and I was young,
Yeah.
but still, I still remember this lavender two-piece suit she wore,
Mm.
and she was pregnant. She was just, she was just my lady
Mm-hmm.
in everything she did. And popular, she had, she knew a lot of people, but she had a very small circle.
Mm-hmm.
And she was secretary at church and in the meetings in the firstborn. And she'd take care of the money and the finances. She was the secretary. And she was just quiet, but you knew she was there. You know, she didn't talk a whole lot, but when
Mhm.
she did say something,
No doubt.
it was on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what that is so true. Mom, as far as I was concerned, could fix anything. And it was just, I guess, the faith and the belief that I had in her by seeing how she operated and the calmness that she always portrayed. And I think one of the greatest things that she had going for her, she was able to love all of her kids. And I don't, to the fact that I don't think any of us could say that mom had respect per person. I think she loved us according to what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And it's a rarity to be able to do that. And what I really feel, um, even when she should have given up on me, she didn't. And that's why I'm great. I'll be grateful until I see her in heaven
Mm-hmm.
for not giving up. And it's a testament to me that if my mother could have faith like that, then I think I should have it as well.
Wow.
good,
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. She was just present, you know. She was just present. I would come home sometimes and all of my friends would be at the house. And I'm looking around like, why are you here? They would just want to come and talk to my mom.
Mm.
They would just sit there and they would just talk to mom. I
Yeah,
mean, she was just a woman that was just so wise.
I remember that. Yeah. I think if she were here, it wouldn't be so much what I'd say, it's what I'd do. Um, I remember before she got sick, well, she'd gotten sick and then went into remission, and I had so much hope that she would fully recover. And it was like planning, Mom, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, and we're going to go here, we're going to go there. And I think if she were here, I would say thank you as well. But I'd say let's go, let's enjoy, and I think enjoy life. That's what I miss the most, and what I would want to do if she were here, to spend as much time as I could with her.
And you know something, Rhonda, when you were saying that, it made me think of something about Mom. Mom wanted all of her children saved. I remember vividly when there was a Dicey meeting, district meeting. I didn't have the money, but Mom would take me. I don't care whether it was North Carolina, Washington. She made sure that I would go. And I look at the fact that was her heartbeat. She wanted her children saved. I was thinking about it today when we was getting ready to get on this. Mommy was my first pastor. She was my first pastor.
Yep.
And I am grateful even to today for what she poured into my life in the midst of everything else, because she never allowed what I was doing to stop her from loving me. And I look at that as the unconditional love of God, because God loves us unconditionally. And he is so wise and so powerful that he can separate the sin from the love that he has for us. And that's what Mom, she didn't condone what I was doing. And she would tell me it was wrong, but she loved me. And I'm a firm believer that love will win every time.
Amen.
Well, it's scripture, right? She practiced it. So
She put her money where her mouth was, right?
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Wow. Well, this was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful. It was.
Yeah.
Do you all have times where you share these stories together, not on live? Are you like sharing texting and sharing funny stories if it comes across you?
And when we get
We
together,
might have a few times, but not that often. Maybe we should do it more.
Yeah, for sure. That was a nice laugh.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I'm
cool.
sure. Yes, and there's so many stories that we don't know.
Yep.
oh man, the stories of Josephine, your dad,
Yeah.
he he would play by himself.
Yeah.
He would play by him. You would think that there was about 3, 4, 5 people with him.
Mm-hmm.
He would be in the basement, and he would be down there playing.
Yeah.
He would be each character, and you would think that there were different people down there with him.
Wow.
Literally, you would think that there were other people down there with him.
Mm-hmm.
He had a
He would
great
be talking.
imagination. Yeah.
And his imagination was that vivid.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, and I'm this is my last story. I'm the youngest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Keith, y'all remember Eddie Guerrell, and down at the neighborhood house.
Eddie?
He was the karate teacher.
Richie
Taught
Durrell.
karate. Richie Guerrell. Richie Guerrell. And your dad, he joined the dojo. He had the karate gi on and the belts and the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he practiced on, right?
He
He had me in the basement one time. He had me in the basement chopping on 2x4s with my fists, trying to break them. So this one particular time we were down there, right? So he had me. He says, "This is the horse stance," and so I'm gonna show you how to do this. The horse stance.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do this, I'm gonna punch you. You better not cry. So this is my big brother, right? This is my big brother. So I'm looking up to him. So I get into my stance, and he says, when I swing and I hit you, you say Kia, like that, right? He was punching me like I wanted to cry so bad.
Did you holler Ki?
He said, "You better not cry. You better not cry." Mommy called down. She said, "What you down there doing?" He would look at me. He said, "You better not do nothing." He said, "Nothing, Mom. We just practicing." He was beating me up for real.
That's awful.
Oh man.
He would be punching me. I mean, he was punching me as hard as he could. Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
Now, if there was some stories to tell,
Mm-hmm.
he would have them. He would have the stories. And because he could make them up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a storyteller. Just like, we were saying with the recitations, he would make them up.
Right.
His face would be just as plain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's
And
something else.
you wouldn't know if he was telling a lie or the truth.
Wow.
Yeah. We could do an episode on Keith alone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would
Yes,
love
you
that.
could.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you could. Oh my God. And he was a funny guy. He was funny.
Yes.
He'd tell you some stories, man. And, and you wouldn't even know if they was true. They would just be funny.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to end this amazing podcast episode. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that anyone wanted to share about your lovely mama for this Mother's Day?
I miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much.
I
Right.
think about her often.
Mm-hmm.
Think about her often. And I think about, how, and I tell my kids, I said, you would have loved your grandmother.
Mm. Yes.
You would have loved your grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mom says that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just that type of person, You just gravitate to her because of her. She was present. She didn't say much, but when she spoke, it meant a lot. It meant a lot. Sometimes, you just to be in her presence,
Yeah.
You didn't even have to have a conversation, just to be there.
Mm.
And she would say, "You want something to eat?"
Mm.
I remember she was even trying to, she kept Brittany for a little while, but she was sick on the tail end of her cancer. And she called me one day and said, "Bussy, I can't do it no more." But she really tried.
Mm.
She really tried. She's going to be missed. She is missed quite a bit, and has been missed like 35 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And grief is interesting, right? Because grief has you feel, even though it's been so many years from now, it still feels the same. It still hurts sometimes. You still miss our loved ones who are no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
We just learn to live and learn to heal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And she would want that. She would want that.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes. Most definitely.
Beautiful.
I want to thank you all. This was
Mm-hmm.
definitely rewarding. I'm glad to have been able to spend the time I have so far today with you all. It definitely did my heart good. Yeah.
Thank you
And
for being the host. Thank you for being the host. And Rhonda, thank you for this platform that you allowed us to use.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Michael and Joe, for hosting. Just thank you all so very much. And just let love continue to grow. Let all of the values that Mom instilled in us, her faith, her unconditional love, all of that. And if we do that, I'm sure we'll continue to make her proud of us.
Right. That's true.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank
yes,
you.
happy
Yes,
Mother's
happy
Day.
Mother's Day.
Happy.
Take care. Talk to you all real soon. Thank you so much.
Love you
This is
guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Talk.
Have a good one. Good night.